Welcome to the regular meeting of the Public Health and Safety Committee for October 9th, 2024. I am Jason Chavez, and I am the chair of this committee. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning as a further method to increase the accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. I'll also note that the Board of Estimate and Taxation has a meeting in this room after us, so we'll need to conclude by 3:30 p.m. to allow for that transition. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll so we can verify a quorum for this meeting.
Councilmember Payne is absent. Rainville.
Present.
Ellison.
Here.
Palmisano.
Present.
Vice Chair Wansley.
Present.
Chair Chavez.
Present.
We have 5 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. With that, the agenda for today's meeting is before us. There are 4 items on today's consent agenda. Items 2 through 5. We'll come back to item number 1, which is a public hearing item, in a moment. Item number 2 is amending the existing passage of a resolution to correct receiving account for the Hennepin County Healthy Tree Canopy Grant. Item number 3 is authorizing a joint powers agreement with the City of Bloomington for the City of Minneapolis to provide legal services to the City of Bloomington. Item number 4 is authorizing a community partner contract with Minneapolis Public Schools for mental health reporting on school-based clinics. Item number 5 is accepting the Maternal Child Health Block Grant. Are there any discussions on these items? I'll also acknowledge that Council President Payne is with us, and I'll pass it on to Vice Chair Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I did just want to follow up on the joint powers agreement with the City of Bloomington, number 3, if we have anyone from the CAO's office. Thank you. I just wanted to know if you could give just some context. I know we had the opportunity, or my office and Councilmember Chavez could meet privately to discuss this, but wanted to make sure residents understood too what this meant, or how, if we've always provided this service to the City of Bloomington before.
Certainly. And good afternoon. My name is David Bernstein. I'm the Deputy City Attorney of the Criminal Division of the City Attorney's Office. By way of background, the Minnesota Rules of Criminal Procedure require that anyone arrested and held in custody have their case reviewed within 48 hours to determine whether or not there's probable cause for that hold and to charge. That 48 hours exists regardless of weekends and holidays. In other words, it includes weekends and holidays. And so the Minneapolis City Attorney's Office has an attorney staffing Saturdays, Sundays, and every holiday to review these cases and ensure that there's probable cause. This requirement is true of all prosecutors across the state of Minnesota. Historically, we have assisted Bloomington and other jurisdictions with this review. The City of Minneapolis has many more attorneys than other jurisdictions, and so given that we're there to review our own cases anyway, we're happy to help out and review other jurisdictions' cases as well. And so this joint powers agreement moves to formalize that agreement with the City of Bloomington.
Thank you so much. So it's similar to a mutual aid agreement of sorts. Okay.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that context. That's all.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I don't see anyone else on queue, so I'll move approval of items 2 through 5. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. That carries, and the consent agenda is approved. The next item is a passage of an ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 231 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances relating to health and sanitation, Public Swimming Pool Code, amending and updating public swimming pool provisions to align with state law. As the author of the ordinance, I'll call on Councilman Rainville, who is authoring this, to speak on this item.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. Let me call my notes here. So this came about because during an inspection, a pool operator shared with our health inspector that it was very confusing to have rules for Minneapolis codes for the state, and that our health department then took that advice from a pool operator to heart, and they reviewed it, and they found that what is covered by state statute is more than adequate, so we're duplicative, and we're making it confusing for pool operators. I also did call the park board because they operate about 80% of the pools in the city of Minneapolis, and they're very comfortable with this. They had input, so we're in good shape as far as the park board, and I do feel that us, to give a good service to the private pool operators, that we should pass this. So I'll turn it over to Cindy. Thank you.
Welcome, Director.
Thank you. I'm Cindy Weckworth. I'm the Director of Environmental Health in the City of Minneapolis Health Department. And today we're looking at Chapter 231, the Public Swimming Pool Code. I think it's helpful just to understand our regulatory framework. Our authority to license, inspect, and regulate comes to us through a delegation agreement with the state of Minnesota, in this case, the Minnesota Department of Health. And it's authorized under Minnesota Statute 145A. Under the delegation agreement, we're required to incorporate the relevant state statutes and rules in our local ordinance. And in most cases, we just adopt these by reference. It goes further to say that our ordinance cannot be in conflict with or less restrictive than the state code and rules. I think it's helpful. There's a wide range of things, probably even things you may not think fall under the definition of pool, so I think it's just helpful to kind of take a walk through this so that we can define pool, public pool, residential pool. So a pool is a structure, chamber, or tank containing an artificial body of water that's used for swimming, diving, relaxation, or recreational use, and it includes special purpose pools and wading pools. A public pool is one that's other than a private residential, and that's also a defined term. That's open to the general public, and that's regardless of whether they pay a fee. It might also be open to an organization and their guests, or might be part of an apartment complex, or a multifamily residential unit, a condo, the patrons of hotel or lodging complexes. And it's also people who operate a park, school, licensed childcare facility, group home, motel, camp, resort, club, such as a health club, or a political subdivision. This is in contrast to a private residential pool. A private residential pool is specific to a single-family residence or owner-occupied duplex that's located on private property, is under control of the homeowner, its use is limited to family members or people who are invited by the family, and a private residential pool is not a pool that's used as part of a business. So again, these changes only are for public pools, not residential pools. So the changes before you today is a little bit of cleanup. We're also working on eliminating redundancy because we do already adopt the rules and statute by reference. It makes it consistent throughout the state, and it's still protective to public health. So first, chapters 1 or sections 1 and 2, you can see this is just a little bit of cleanup. These are chapters or sections that have already been stricken or removed from statute or rule. Or repealed. And then you'll note this is also where it adopts the rules by reference. So it already exists in there. Sections 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 are repealed in their entirety. So this gets rid of the redundancy, and it also gets rid of some of the areas where we have more restrictive chemistry rules. Just a couple examples. In this particular instance, you'll see that this is for the struck-out language is what currently exists, and this is for pools. They require a 2.0 part per million of chlorine as a residual. In contrast, the state only requires 1 part per million. So this would be the minimum level that is required. So a lower level is protective, and so we would reflect the state's level. The same sort of example, but with pools or wading pools and spa pools. The residual for chlorine currently in our code is 6 part per million. 3 parts per million for chlorine and 6 parts per million for bromine. And the state has a lower level of 2 parts per million chlorine and 4 parts per million bromine. Just a note, pool operators can still, if they choose, wish to, they can still operate under these higher chlorine and bromine levels. And they may choose to do that based on their bather load or maybe an anticipated event. Maybe there's a soccer tournament in town and all the soccer players are going to come jump in the pool right afterwards, and they might want to raise their residual just to be protective. And then Section 7, you'll note the strikeout in the last sentence. The park board and school district don't need to be singled out as their pools already fall under the definition of public pool. There's no net increase to the schools or the parks, as this change reflects the existing practice of charging license fees to recoup costs for inspections. We did send out a notice to our public pool owners and operators on October 2nd, alerting them of the public hearing in case they wanted to participate in the hearing and provide comment. We also, if the changes are passed, will alert them of those changes this fall, and then again in the spring before the summer pools reopen. And then our health inspectors are out there every year. We'll make sure we let them know too about the changes. So with this, I thank you for your time, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Director Wickworth. Is anybody on queue for any questions? Cool. So before I open the public hearing for this item, I encourage folks of the public to please see the clerk to sign up if you have not already signed up to speak. Each person will have 2 minutes to speak, and we have a hard stop at 3:30 this afternoon, since there will be another meeting in this room after us. In order to ensure everyone has a chance to speak, please respect the time limit. Once testimony is completed, we will close the public hearing. With that, I will proceed to open the public hearing. I do not believe we have anyone signed up, but we wanted to make sure that the public was aware. Okay. Seeing no one else is wishing to speak, I'll now close the public hearing. Are there any comments from committee members? Okay. With that, Councilmember Rainville, would you like to make a motion?
I move we approve item number 1, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second somewhere. Thank you. That item has been moved and seconded by Councilmember Palmisano. Are there any questions from council members? Cool. The clerk, may you please call the roll?
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Vice Chair Wansley. Chair Chavez.
Aye.
We have 5 ayes and 0 nays.
That carries. Thank you. Awesome. We'll now move on to the remaining discussion items that we have here today. Our first discussion item is receiving and filing a report relating to the Homegrown Minneapolis initiative. I'll invite Allison from the Health Department to introduce that item. Welcome.
Sorry. Save to the desktop, but blank.
Should we figure out how we can help right here, or is it good?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
And if we have an extra USB, that might be helpful.
So my understanding is it's on the computer, but it's not working on the computer. Is that correct?
The file is not. The file appears to be empty.
Okay.
Which of course is.
Okay.
If there's a way to maybe, if you
Yeah.
have a USB here to
Yeah.
put the one we have online there. We'll figure this out. It's fine.
Great. This computer is isolated.
So I found that this USB part worked, but this one didn't. So I don't know which one you tried.
Grace loaded it, so I don't know.
Okay.
But when she comes back up, I'll find out.
Yeah. She's figuring it out.
Right? Can't live with them. Can't live without them. We can just open it from there, I think, for now. Yeah. Okay, and then,
Awesome. There it goes. Thank you.
oh, and then if you click on there, then you'll get a full screen. Yeah. Perfect.
Good afternoon, Chair Chavez, Vice Chair Wansley, and members of the committee. My name is Allison Babb, and I am the manager of the Homegrown Minneapolis initiative housed in the Health Department, and we are here today to provide a report on our work. Launched in 2008, Homegrown Minneapolis is a city-community partnership expanding our community's ability to grow, process, distribute, eat, and compost more healthy, sustainable, and locally grown foods. Homegrown's current work is primarily focused on supporting community and market gardens on city-owned land, supporting the city's 16 farmers markets, helping fund food shelves, addressing climate change by improving the food system, and staffing the Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council. I'd like to invite my co-presenter, Jenny Breen, co-chair of the Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council, to share an overview of the Food Council and the foundational documents that they helped Homegrown staff create.
Welcome, Jenny.
What am I?
Hello, Chair Chavez, Vice Chair Wamsley, and members of the committee. Thank you for having me here today. I'm a professional chef, public health nutritionist, culinary educator, and an advocate for sustainable food systems and food justice. I've served on the Food Council since 2021, but was part of the founding group back in 2014. The Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council is a 25-member city advisory group launched in 2012. It is appointed by and reports to the mayor and the city council. The Food Council works with diverse stakeholders to build a healthy, resilient local food system and connects local government, businesses, organizations, and residents. A guiding document for the Food Council is the Minneapolis Food Vision, which is the city's 2033 vision for a more equitable, climate resilient, just, and sustainable local food system and local food economy. It was endorsed by the Food Council in December 2022 and adopted by the City Council in March 2023. It includes priority areas, strategies, and suggested metrics, and is focused on municipal policy and investment and Food Council action. In addition to being a standalone document, the vision is a companion to the city's climate equity plan. After the vision was adopted by the city, the Food Council, community members, and staff created the Minneapolis Food Action Plan to guide the first phase of implementation. It includes 5 work plans and actions, tasks, potential partners, and metrics for each. It was approved by the Food Council in November 2023. Overall, our goal is for the action plan to be a living, collaborative document shaped and implemented with the help of community partners and stakeholders. As you can see here, it's organized around the 6 priority areas with 29 strategies that support them. Included in the action plan are 5 work plans addressing the following priorities. Oops. Do we have a slide for those? Anyway, following the following priorities: urban agriculture, food skills, local food procurement, equitable food access, and wasted food. The Food Council is guiding and monitoring the implementation of planning as it did the development of the food vision and action plans. It's been about 10 months since staff and the Food Council began working to implement the food action plan. It's an ambitious plan, and we can't do it alone. In addition to working closely with the Food Council, staff are also working with other city departments, county government partners, academic partners, nonprofits, and community members. The Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council played a critical role in the development of the Food Vision and Food Action Plan and will continue to guide and monitor implementation. I'm going to pass it back to Allison.
It's okay. Thanks, Jenny. Okay. So with the help of our partners, we have been working on several exciting projects to further the goals of the Minneapolis Food Vision. To highlight some of this work, I'll start with an overview of the homegrown community projects. Then I'll give some updates about urban agriculture, wasted food prevention, and wrap up with plans for the Minneapolis Farmers Market. So this year, with Climate Legacy Initiative funding, Homegrown was able to fund 16 community-led projects. They range from $5,000 to $25,000 and total roughly $316,000. The projects started the first week of May and are currently scheduled to conclude at the end of the year. Many of them combine 2 or more of the focus areas, which are all actions from the Climate Equity Plan. So 7 are rescuing food and redistributing it to food shelves and other programs. 6 are preventing wasted food using other strategies like expanding the number of households composting food scraps. 10 are sustainably growing food in our city. And 3 are using season extension to extend the growing season into the colder months. Through these projects, we are building healthier, more climate resilient communities and helping residents get better access to fresh, healthy food. Our partners are doing all these things while also helping to advance health and racial equity in our city. We've been doing site visits with the project this summer and fall, and it's been really amazing to see them in action. One of the photos here shows organic green beans that were sustainably grown by Black Radish Urban Farm. And through an innovative partnership supported by this funding, they were distributed to food insecure families at Sana Foundation's weekly food distribution at Corcoran Park, less than a mile from where they were grown on the same day they were harvested. And you really don't get much fresher than that. Many of these projects we are funding represent a shift in our work supporting food security. From 2020 through the end of this year, Homegrown distributed $2.4 million in federal funding to support food shelves and food distributions across our city. This funding ends in 2024 as the last of the ARPA funds expire. However, food insecurity continues at record levels across the city. Our sustainable growing projects are distributing their harvest for free to community members who struggle with access to fresh, healthy food. And while important to addressing climate change, food rescue is also essential for supporting food security efforts. Food rescue takes safe, healthy food that would otherwise have gone to waste and gets it to those who need it most. I want to give an example. Through this funding, Twin Cities Food Justice is partnering with FreedomWorks in North Minneapolis to launch a new program to prevent food waste and address the needs of those who are food insecure by making healthy produce available all winter long. Volunteers are picking up unsold produce from farmers markets across the city and delivering it to FreedomWorks. There, graduates of their job training and culinary arts program clean and prep it before vacuum sealing and freezing it. They will then distribute everything from spaghetti sauce and ratatouille to carrots, beans, and corn to their food shelf and meal partners throughout the winter. In addition to funding community-based projects that prevent wasted food, Homegrown has also collaborated with solid waste and recycling and other units in the health department, especially environmental health, on a the development of resources to help restaurants prevent food waste. Minneapolis became a Natural Resources Defense Council, or NRDC, Food Matters City in 2023. The Food Matters program helps cities take action to reduce food waste by providing technical assistance and sometimes other support. With their help, Minneapolis created a suite of restaurants for restaurants, including 4 videos in 3 languages each, downloadable resources, and helpful external links, all now available on the city's website. NRDC was impressed with our ambition and kicked in funding to support the creation of these materials, which officially launched in April during National Food Waste Prevention Week. We recognize that to support restaurants to meaningfully reduce their food waste, we need to do more. And as such, in early September, we submitted an application to the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Composting and Food Waste Reduction Pilot Project opportunity. If funded, the project would support BIPOC and immigrant-owned food businesses to prevent wasted food by offering training, coaching, and financial incentives. Wish us luck. We should know if our proposal is accepted by no later than early next year. Urban agriculture has been and continues to be a major focus for Homegrown. There are 2 policy changes that will be coming to council soon after a lot of work. The garden lease program leases city-owned vacant lots to community and market gardens, and gardens leased through the program can be sold for development. Through a new pilot program, Homegrown and CPED staff have identified 6 eligible lots that we hope to preserve as permanent gardens by selling them to the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. We are still working out the details with Park Board staff, but CPED does hope to bring this sale to the council this fall. This pilot is an opportunity to protect these thriving gardens in perpetuity, and we're really excited about it. Another urban agriculture policy effort that has made significant headway is allowing residents to use the boulevard in front of their home to grow fruits and vegetables. This started with community energy around growing food in boulevards, which made staff aware that current ordinance language does not explicitly allow growing food in boulevards. In fact, it is currently prohibited. Homegrown has been collaborating with Public Works to amend the boulevard ordinance to allow food to be grown in that space. In addition, Homegrown plans to create online resources with boulevard gardening guidance, increasing accessibility of information about how to grow food safely and successfully in boulevards while following the updated ordinance. Finally, farmers markets are important cultural and economic assets that increase access to healthy local food in our city. In partnership with Property Services and with support from Intergovernmental Relations, we submitted the Minneapolis Farmers Market Sustainability and Modernization Project earmark funding proposal to our Minnesota congressional delegation. The city will receive $850,000 in community project funding from HUD to improve the sustainability of and update the Minneapolis Farmers Market infrastructure in anticipation of the light rail station opening. We will make the market ADA accessible and generally easier to get around for the close to 1 million visitors that shop there each year. This will also improve conditions for the farmers and other small businesses who sell there. We hope construction will begin late next year. That completes our presentation. We'd be happy to respond to any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? I might have one. Can you walk us through the timeline for the edible boulevards? I know that Councilman Palmisano gave a notice of intent at the last council meeting, but do you have a specific timeline on when that's going to be coming through the council?
Yes, that will be coming. So that one goes to climate and infrastructure, and I believe it's November 7th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
I mean, we're still looking at it. There might be some changes. It might get a little bit further out than that, but
Cool.
as soon as November 7th.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
I don't see anybody else on the queue, so I appreciate the presentation. Thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, I'll direct the clerk to receive and file that report. Our next discussion item is receiving and filing a report relating to Youth Day at City Hall 2024. I'll invite Director Karen Moe from the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department to introduce that item. Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon, Chair Chavez, council members. First, thanks for having us here today. The Youth Coordinating Board, or Youth Cabinet rather, doesn't come to this committee very often. I don't present here very often, so thank you so much for having us. To start, my name is Karen Moe, and along with serving as the city's Director of Neighborhood and Community Relations, I am also the co-chair of the city's Youth Cabinet. And we're here today to request council to receive and file a presentation and a report that was submitted through LIMS as well. You should have a copy of it, a more in-depth report on the city's first Youth Day at City Hall that took place this year, April 15th. First, before we get started, I wanted to do a little bit of an introduction to the city's Youth Cabinet. The city's Youth Cabinet was established by resolution in 2013, and the Youth Cabinet really is a board that is made up of all of city departments that work together to figure out how to coordinate our work regarding our young people. We really ask all departments to think about how we center young people and children in their decision-making, whether it's about designing policies, programs, or how we invest resources. The Youth Cabinet also works to make sure that we identify partners outside the city that also do work to support our young people. I serve as co-chair along with Heidi Ritchie, who is Deputy Commissioner of the Health Department. And since we've taken over as co-chairs of the Youth Cabinet, we've worked to identify a handful of goals for the Youth Cabinet, as well as a vision statement, and then to actually implement a handful of activities. So first, I want to say that the Youth Cabinet envisions a city where all young people feel safe, engaged, and valued. And while we ask each department to think about how we do that, we also know that the Youth Cabinet can come together across the enterprise and implement activities. And so in the last 2 years, we've identified a handful of activities that we wanted to implement, not necessarily centered by one department or owned by one department, but owned by the entire enterprise. One of the activities that we identified was actually establishing a Youth Day at City Hall. When we set out to do this, we identified a handful of goals, and we used those goals as we made decisions throughout the process. But again, the Youth Cabinet is made up of representatives from each city department, and so when we set out to do this work, we didn't have staff assigned. So we worked across the entire enterprise and identified a handful of extremely fabulous staff from many different departments to pull this event together. Today, I'm joined by a handful of that staff that are going to present a little bit more in-depth information about the planning process, the actual day of the event, and then all of the data that we collected throughout this to determine whether or not this was successful. So with that, I am going to turn it over.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I'm Karen Scheel. I'm the Youth Engagement Coordinator with Minneapolis Elections and Voter Services, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the community partners and relationships that made the events possible. Once we had our goals for the event in place, we could begin planning what we needed to make the event successful. We thought intentionally about how to invite high school students from across Minneapolis and who had a variety of experiences to share with each other and with the city. We wanted them to have trusted adults who could help set the stage for the day and help them process together afterward. We considered the best way to get them to and from City Hall safely, keep them secure and fed and hydrated while they were here, and keep them intellectually engaged. We needed families to let their students participate and choose whether or not to let their child's image be used in our media. And that meant relying a lot on our team's existing relationships with community members and partners, namely with Minneapolis's youth leadership groups and Minneapolis teachers. Their support was crucial in facilitating the logistics. This slide shows the breadth of the student groups and classrooms that we engaged. We leaned on some of them as we considered the programming, how students could contribute as thought leaders and facilitators, as well as learners and participants in the day. The advisors and teachers supported them before, during, and after the event. We'll talk a little bit later about the roles the students played in the programming, but now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Elise to talk about the enterprise collaboration.
Welcome, Elise.
Thank you, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elise Balderrama, she, her, hers, and I work in the IT department. I am thrilled for the opportunity to be involved in supporting the city's engagement with youth. This event could not have happened without the involvement of leaders and staff throughout the enterprise. This event allowed staff to show their dedication to youth and to make connections with them. Everyone could rely on their own strengths and areas of expertise to showcase city services, resources, and the policymaking process at the city. As Karen Moe pointed out to us a few times, it's truly an enterprise effort when you can't tell which department is leading the work. That's the beauty of the youth cabinet here at the city. All departments are involved. So the event was run by a core team representing the enterprise, along with our wonderful partners at the Youth Coordinating Board. The core team collaborated with staff across the city to plan and orchestrate this event. So this list here includes people that we consulted with, including traffic control, property services staff, communications, the IT web team, emergency management team, etc. It also includes our event day presenters and session moderators. This slide shows the volunteers that signed up for one or more shifts at the event. So we had help with the setup, registration, lunch, and cleanup. And we want to give recognition to Padao Yang with our Neighborhood and Community Relations Department. She coordinated the schedule and the assignments of the volunteers for the day. Here's a summary of the enterprise participation. One of my favorite memories of the day was watching all the young people walk from the public service building and down into the main entrance of City Hall. Our friendly volunteers and our traffic control agents were there to mind the traffic and guide our very important guests. Kristen Norman will take it from here and go over some of the details and structure of the event.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Elise, and thank you, Chair Chavez. My name is Kristen Norman, and I'm a business analyst with the IT department. As Karen mentioned, the event team put a lot of intention behind structuring the day to align with our goals for the event. As you can see from our event schedule, some of the key elements included a morning panel, breakout sessions, and a resource fair. Throughout the day, we also had the opportunity to introduce participants to several members of city leadership, and we are grateful for their time and engagement. This slide features a photo from our morning panel, which included 8 very excited young people who were happy to share their experiences as leaders in various city, park board, and Minneapolis public school-related programs. Next. One of the highlights of the day was the breakout sessions. We selected some of the topics based on direct input from youth as they expressed a desire to voice their concerns about issues like safety and climate change. Other topics emerged from initiatives the city was actively working to address. These breakout sessions offered participants the chance to engage face-to-face with city leaders, provide valuable input that could influence city decisions, and learn more about civic engagement. While I share some background info on the breakout sessions, we'll be showing some survey results from each of the topic areas. On the following slides, please note the pie charts on the left will summarize how engaging participants found the sessions to be, while the pie charts on the right will indicate how comfortable participants felt sharing their opinions. We worked with the city policy leads to develop pre-education materials for each session, which were distributed to teachers, youth participants, and youth facilitators before the event. These materials included a summary of each topic, information about the city's role, and questions for participants to consider in advance of the event. On the day of the event, Minneapolis Youth Congress members served as facilitators for the breakout sessions, introducing the topic to their peers and providing discussion prompts. City policy leads were also at each breakout to provide additional background information and, most importantly, listen to youth feedback. The format for the breakout sessions included three rounds of breakouts lasting 20 minutes each. As noted earlier, there were a total of 5 topics, and participants could choose 3 of the 5 to attend. One common question we saw on participant surveys was, how will my input be used? I'm happy to say that within a week of the event, we were able to send out a follow-up email to participants, which included a summary of how the input would be used, along with tips and links to help participants stay engaged with the topics. We also provided a summary of opportunities from the resource fair, which Elise will talk about shortly. Overall, the feedback we received on breakout sessions was very positive from both participants as well as city policy leads. Notably, it provided that unique opportunity for city leaders to hear directly from youth and use their input. In one example, Ethan Foley, our traffic safety camera policy lead, was able to share youth input gathered at the breakout sessions with state legislatures that were working on a related bill last spring. I'll now hand it back to my colleague Elise, who will take us through the rest of the event.
Thank you, Kristen. After enjoying lunch and listening to some very inspirational speakers in the rotunda, the participants went up to the next level of City Hall to have dessert and explore the resource fair. We had 12 city departments along with 3 partners hosting tables at the resource fair. The purpose of the fair was to connect youth with city resources, programs, and other opportunities which they learned about earlier in the day. We wanted to especially highlight employment, internships, and career exploration programs. We also wanted to provide participants with additional face-to-face time with city staff. So staff tailored their materials to intentionally connect with the young people. Participants gave us very positive feedback. They had fun and learned more about how they can get involved. Young people also felt engaged. I know we could feel their energy and enthusiasm filling the air in City Hall. Ending the day in City Hall gave the young people another space to explore so they could feel welcome and feel like they belong in government spaces. And we want to give special recognition to Brianna Phelps with the 311 Service Center and also Lorna Mae Biddle with the elections group for coordinating the resource fair. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I will turn the presentation over to Heidi Ritchie, who will cover the summary and highlights and outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for having me 2 days in a row. So I'm Heidi Ritchie, the Deputy Commissioner of Health and co-chair with Karen Moe for the Youth Cabinet. I will be walking us through the next couple slides to summarize some highlights and outcomes before turning the presentation over to my colleague Karen Scheel again. She will finish off this section with feedback and lessons learned. As mentioned in the slides above, our goal was to have between 70 and 100 young participants. We hit our goal with 81 youth, and in addition, we had participation from 12 teachers representing 5 organizations and 10 Minneapolis high schools. For our first ever event, we are proud at meeting this goal and encouraged by the level of participation from youth and adults. Next slide. For those who work with children and youth, the term ACEs is a frequently used term to describe stressful events in a child's life that can potentially impact their health and well-being. The term stands for adverse childhood experiences and includes abuse, neglect, household challenges like financial hardship, living with parents or caregivers with mental health challenges, discrimination, feeling unsafe in the neighborhood, bullying, and witnessing violence. The more ACEs a person has, the greater the risk of experiencing health problems and challenges in school, work, and relationships. For example, the risk for anxiety, depression, and smoking increases as the number of ACEs increase. Fortunately, there has been an increased focus on counteraction of PCEs, or positive childhood experiences, and how it contributes to resiliency in kids that are at risk for biological changes due to toxic stress from ACEs. Pieces include feeling able to talk with family about your feelings, feeling that your family stood by you during difficult times, enjoying participation in community traditions, feeling a sense of belonging in high school, feeling supported by friends, having at least 2 non-parent adults who genuinely care, feeling safe and protected in your home. Youth Day at City Hall not only provided opportunities for young people to engage with city departments, community organizations, elected officials, and government resources, but also reinforced positive experiences, in particular with feeling a sense of belonging in high school, feeling supported by friends, and notably having non-parent adults who show a genuine interest in our young people. With 78% of students surveyed likely or very likely to participate in the programs they learned about, and 100% of teachers and or adult leaders surveyed willing to participate in a future event, we have laid the groundwork to continue supporting positive interactions and experiences to help develop resiliency in our youth and for people who have and will experience trauma. Earlier in the presentation, Director Moe laid out goals that we had. We are pleased and encouraged to have met these goals. We wanted to celebrate youth contributions. Our morning panel featured 8 peer leaders who spoke about their experiences and participation in programs such as the Teen Health Empowerment Council, Youth Congress, Urban Scholars, and more. We wanted youth to provide input on critical issues. Our breakout sessions brought subject matter experts to facilitate feedback and hear the perspectives of youth on key issues mentioned earlier: budget, cannabis, climate, community safety, and traffic cameras. And we wanted youth to come away with more knowledge about the function of city government and the system under which it works. 75% of youth surveyed reported they learned a whole lot or some new things. Next slide. And lastly, we wanted to introduce youth to employment opportunities and other ways to engage in the city. To that end, as you saw in the previous slides, we had 15 city departments and community partners at our resource fair, and we are very proud of the success we had in meeting our goals for the event, and we are encouraged by the high level of participation as well as positive post-event survey results related to their input being valued, feeling heard, and future participation in programs and resources that they learned about during the event. I'll briefly show the next few slides that have pie chart results with some of the survey questions. This slide shows the percentage of participants that agreed the goals of the event were met. As you can see, our biggest critics were our adult participants and not so much our teens. This survey question was mentioned earlier. To reiterate, 75% of those surveyed responded they had learned a whole lot or some new things. And this slide shows that 78% were unaware of the different jobs and internships available with the city. We're hopeful that this and future opportunities will continue to lift up the city as an employer and usher in a future workplace of Minneapolis youth for the city of Minneapolis. And now I'll turn it back to Karen Shield to talk about feedback and lessons learned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Heidi and others shared a lot of the quantitative survey feedback that we got, and we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the helpful qualitative comments that we received, both in the survey and follow-up emails and conversations with students and teachers. As you all know from the young people in your lives, they can be simultaneously very enthusiastic and very critical, and I think we saw that in some of the comments that we got. Their high points of the day and their hunger for more interaction with each other and with adult decision makers was evident. They really want to know that their voices matter. Next. Here's some particularly relevant quotes from some of our youth attendees. You can see how they valued the experience and their opportunities to connect with city leaders. The teachers and adult leaders provided similar feedback with the highlights and their suggestions. And because these were partners that we work with year after year in most cases, we're also following up with them with the final report and with links to this presentation so they could see it. I know that many were interested in hearing about what the city thought of it. And I'm just going to leave you here with a few relevant quotes from teachers and adults who brought their youth here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to wrap it up here. There's a summary here of the lessons learned from all of the data that we collected and analyzed. And I want to take the last moment here just to say thank you. Thank you to council members for taking the time to listen today. And thank you to the staff. As a leader in the city here, I will say we oftentimes talk about wanting to do things differently, to work more collaboratively, to use data to drive our decision-making. And I can't take any credit for this event, but all of the folks behind me and all of the volunteers that you saw across all of the departments in the city came together and worked collaboratively to pull this event off. And as you can see, both from the presentation and the report, there was a lot of data that was collected along the way, a lot of intentionality to determine whether or not this pilot was effective. So I want to do a big shout out and thank you to the fabulous staff from the many different departments that pulled this event off, and to all of you, and especially to the young people who participated in this first ever pilot event. With that, we wrap up and we'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Director Mo, and thank you to everyone that presented and to all the youth that worked on this. Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to thank, I don't have any questions, but just wanted to thank you and staff for pulling this off. You know, we talk a lot about youth, and our constituents talk a lot about their concerns for youth, and seeing that chart about how almost 80% of them didn't know what opportunities were available to them here at the city, that sticks out to me as something we got to let our youth know what the ways in which we're here to support them, the ways in which we're here to help them build skills, prop up their interests, and not just us, but there's a whole community. It made me think how much is happening in the city that our youth aren't being exposed to or is not successfully reaching them, and so I think this was a great event. I love that we're sort of putting our money where our mouth is in terms of wanting to support our youth here at the city of Minneapolis, and I hope to see this happening again and again. So just wanted to thank you all for the work that you did. So that's all.
Thank you.
Council President Payton.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I'll just echo what Councilmember Ellison said. I was able to participate in some of those breakout sessions, and it just was very warming and just very hope-filled to know that we had such engaged young people, and they were just so smart and inquisitive and curious, and it was kind of a humbling experience to spend time with them. So I just really appreciate you setting up that venue for that type of engagement with us.
There isn't anybody else on cue, but just want to thank you and our staff again for all the work that you all did for this, and the work that will continue to happen in the following years. There was feedback that we all got on a variety of different things that are going to come before the council, so I think it's important that we read the report. Really appreciate the areas for improvement component of the presentation. I think it's always good to learn about where our areas of growth could be, and I think that was really, I want to see more presentations that add that, because I think we can always improve on everything, so I really appreciate that as well. So thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Seeing no further questions, I'll direct the clerk to receive and file that report. Our next and final discussion items are items number 8 and 9, receiving and filing the quarterly update from the Office of Community Safety, quarterly report, as well as updates on the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center and the Lake Street Safety Center, and the progress on the Safe and Thriving Communities Report Plan. I'll call on Director Amanda Harrington and Commissioner Barnett from the Office of Community Safety to speak on those items. And I think it's just you, Commissioner.
Thank you, and good afternoon. I don't think we can top the Youth Day presentation. I agree that that was a great program to participate in for all of us. But good afternoon. I'm Todd Barnett, the Commissioner of Community Safety here in Minneapolis. I'll be presenting with several other representatives. Just to let you know, the MPD leadership is in a training today, and so Andy Scootman, the Chief of Staff, will present for them. Of course, like you said, Director Amanda Harrington will also present today, along with other of our department heads. For anyone from the public that doesn't know about the Office of Community Safety, we have 5 departments under us, which is 911, Emergency Management, Fire, Neighborhood Safety, and the Police Department, of course. Our responsibility is overseeing and coordinating their work so that we are working collaboratively. Also, we're also responsible for partnering with other city departments, Hennepin County, the state, and federal agencies to provide safety for our residents and visitors. Other functions include administration, communication, and implementation of the Safe and Thriving Community Report, and the oversight and compliance with the settlement agreement and the consent decree that we will have hopefully soon. Of course, as Council knows, our mission is to provide a coordinated, comprehensive, and equitable safety service to all residents and visitors. And our vision for the city is a city where all people feel safe, social disparities are eliminated, and all residents can access opportunity and resources. Here's an updated org chart. And I guess to point out the significance of this org chart is that we have been able to fill 2 of the communications positions since the last time we were here to present. And the importance of those 2 positions are that OCS is responsible for providing communications either directly or with collaboration for the departments. And how that works is that we help with internal and external communications, press releases, data requests, media interviews, proactive storytelling, newsletters, and more importantly, these 2 positions will help us improve our communications with the public as it relates to some of our big initiatives like the Safe and Thriving Community Report, like compliance with the settlement agreement. Next, some of the highlights from the 3rd quarter. Those highlights are, the success that we had this summer for our major events, like concerts downtown, Pride Parade, Twin Cities Marathon more recently, and other events. And the reason I point that out is because our success of these events are not just within our department or other departments, but also working with our partners at the county, state, and federal level. Director Amanda Harrington continues to work on and have progress with implementing the Safe and Thriving Community Report, and she'll give a more detailed update. We've been able to launch the OCS Dispatch, which is a biweekly public update on the work of OCS and its departments. If anyone wants to subscribe to receive that newsletter, they can do that through the city's Gov delivery page. One of the things that we continue to work on, and thanks to this council for approving those leadership positions in neighborhood safety, which is allowing us to have neighborhood safety be more sustainable. Just like fire, just like police. And so thank you for that. We're either hired those positions, most of those positions, or I think we have 1 left that's in the final stages of being hired. And then Lastly here for me, the strategic planning and activities that we have going forward. So for the fourth quarter, as we look forward, some of the things that we will be doing, and that is having a more coordinated strategic planning for all of our departments in 2025, which is different than what we've done before. We will continue to implement the Safe and Thriving Community Report. I think most members here know that the NYU Policing Project Report should be here, I think, within a month, and that will help us be informed on some of our next steps in implementing the Safe and Thriving Community Report. We're excited about the fourth quarter and opening up the Lake Street Safety Center, and also continuing to implement and comply with the settlement agreement and being prepared to have that strong foundation for compliance with the consent decree. And then as you look at some of our strategic priorities for this year, which I've talked about already, but I think the most important one that's listed last is that we continue to try to integrate the community safety work throughout the enterprise and not just in our 5 departments. I will pass it on to Director Harrington. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Amanda Harrington, Director of Community Safety Design and Implementation. Thank you for letting me combine my 2 agenda items today into one. Saves us all a little time. A lot of work has been happening over the past 3 months. Much of it has been shared with council members at this podium in front of this committee or through emails, but I want to highlight just a few of the activities from the last quarter. And keep in mind that I will also be back twice in November to give a more thorough update. So Director Hasbargen and I continue to meet weekly with the New York University Policing Project and their asset and gaps analysis, and the Commissioner already noted that we should have their final report in the next month, which will be shared before this committee. I've been continuing to work with Neighborhood Community Relations and the Office of Community Safety Communications team, as well as the Design and Implementation, Community Relationships, and Communications Committee to plan out the implementation for the next 12 months and a 2-year engagement and communications plan. We've also been meeting with a number of department heads throughout the city enterprise, because we keep saying this, but safety doesn't just live in the 5 departments under the Office of Community Safety. We have created a public dashboard so that folks can follow along on the progress with the Safe and Thriving Communities activities. An example is on the slide that I'm sharing with you right now. This iteration of the dashboard currently only shows launch list tasks. We're working on the second iteration that will include phase 1, 2, and hopefully 3 of the dashboard, as well as including additional filtering features. We continue to plan service pilots along with performance management and innovation, including the safety ambassadors and embedded social work in 911, and also juvenile deflection and enhancing juvenile diversion services. In August, we held a large group convening of many safety service providers, really initially to have folks get to know each other and start to build relationships, but we also included city contract vendors, city staff, and Metro Transit, Minneapolis Parks and Recreation Board. And subsequently, smaller convenings have started to take place, particularly with violence interrupters and others that do community outreach. This is in collaboration with Neighborhood Safety, but also, again, with our county partners, Metro Transit and Parks and Recreation, who offer similar services as well. My team has also spent quite a bit of time working on a safety ecosystem community work group. Starting in February 2024, the Community Relationships and Communications Committee began planning for this advisory group. Development has been going on steadily since that time, and I did mention this very briefly at my updates before this body in July and August, as well as speaking to at least one council member personally about this. But today I'd like to spend a little bit of my update just digging more into what we've been working on for this plan. The work of the Safe and Thriving Communities report, the community safety ecosystem, is critical to our success as a city. And it's clear from the Safe and Thriving Communities report and conversations with the commissioner and various council members and community members that we have to do something different to get a different outcome. In the spirit of doing something different, we're creating a work group that is outside of the political process of appointments. The group would be formed by Commissioner Barnett, but applications for the committee members would be reviewed and recommended by a panel of community members. So this group would be from and selected by the community. We hope it would have 15 members, 10 would be diverse community members, and 5 would be subject matter experts. The task of this group would be to understand the city's vision, strategy, and data, as well as to develop and implement the community safety ecosystem, and to help track implementation toward the Safe and Thriving Communities report. They would meet monthly and consult with city staff to further develop the ecosystem, as well as bringing back information to their respective communities. One of the big differences that I thought was really important with this group was that we pay participants for their work. It's not typical for the city to pay work groups like this, but again, this community safety work is unprecedented, and we have to take unprecedented action to do something different. We have to change the status quo. And so consistently, we've heard from folks that it can be a barrier for people to be involved in work groups and committees. We don't want the same people who do a great job on advisory boards and committees to be part of this group. We need to open it up to new people. I worked with the Minneapolis Foundation to fund stipends for these committee members for this next year. And my work was not only with the Design and Implementation Committee, but also with the City Attorney's Office to ensure that we have a form that meets their standards, a rubric to help the community members make selections. We've designed a web page, and it's up and ready to be published as soon as we are all in agreement on this proposal. I've even started talking with folks about who's willing to be on the selection committee. Hard shift. I'm going to shift gears now, because the other part of my work really works around community safety centers. The work to turn 2228 East Lake Street from a dentist office to a safety center is almost complete. We hope to open in early November and are planning a special opening event, so you'll be invited. Senior Project Manager Christina Dowling has been doing a really amazing job working with partners to finalize the staffing schedule for this location. We've added another partner since my last update. GMCC, or Greater Minneapolis Council of Churches, will also be in this space with us. They're contracted with the city currently using opioid settlement funds. And as we know, opioid services are much needed in that Lake Street corridor. They'll be a great addition to the center. And we're currently working on a memorandum of agreement for sharing the space. For both safety centers in the last quarter, we analyzed and shared the results of our intensive community engagement from the spring. We promised community that we would return. They wouldn't just hear from us one time, but we'd tell them what we heard from them and how we would use that information. And so we're currently collaborating with council members who are in that service area of the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center, as well as neighborhood and community relations, to schedule more community engagement events this fall and winter. Based on the findings from that community engagement, which included the Youth Day at City Hall, by the way, so I was glad to hear that presentation, we issued 10 requests for information so that we could hear from community providers how those services might work in the center. After reading the responses to those requests for information, the Services and Resources Committee narrowed down the initial services that we want in the center to culturally specific navigators, domestic violence, mental health, human trafficking, training, advocacy, and youth, in addition to the already planned 311 service center. Work has begun on the next step, which includes drafting requests for proposals and working with the county to see if any collaboration can occur in areas where they have substantial expertise. One RFP has already gone out this week, that for the human trafficking, training, and advocacy services. And as some of you may know, the design firm Wald was chosen through the RFP process. That went before AEO committee on Monday, and will continue to work through the contracting process and continue working through City Council. Looking ahead, there's a lot of work to be done. Keep in mind this is at least a 10-year process, but let's just look at the next quarter. Next week, we plan to post our implementation plan related to the Safe and Thriving Communities report on the website. That's in addition to the dashboard. So if somebody wants something interactive, they can use the dashboard. If they just want to see a long list, because that's better for them, we will have that as well. The Safe and Thriving Communities report suggests cataloging prevention services. We decided that we didn't want just to look at prevention service. We wanted to look at all safety-related services in the city. And so we're working with contract managers across the enterprise to collect this information and then to be able to share it internally and also with the public. We'll be starting a regular meeting to review non-police responsive services such as traffic control, animal control, BCR, and police reports made through 311. And I hope to come back soon before City Council to accept the funds from the Minneapolis Foundation and start soliciting applications for the community work group. I hope that the City Council will promote that opportunity for collaboration with the work group, and that's something that I had emphasized in August and want to re-emphasize here today. We will have the 2-year engagement plan done in the next few months and be able to share that with everybody. And we will be issuing those RFPs for the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center. The last thing that I think is not as interesting to some folks, but is really critical, is that we'll continue to work with IT to standardize collection of vendor data across the city enterprise. It's really being done in a piecemeal way, and it's hard for us to be transparent to our community through dashboards or anything else when some data is collected through Smartsheet, and some is through Excel, and some is on a piece of paper. So we need to standardize that, and it may require an upgrade by our system. That includes my update. I will pass the podium to Andy Skugman.
Thank you. Welcome, Andy.
Good afternoon. My name is Andy Skugman. I'm the Chief of Staff for the Minneapolis Police Department. And as the Commissioner said, I'm pinch hitting today as MPD leadership, sworn leadership, including Chief O'Hara, are at mandatory use of force training. I will begin with our recent Recruit Academy graduation, which took place in September. Most notably, we welcomed our first Somali female officer, as well as our first permanent resident who is not a U.S. citizen, to the MPD ranks. A very recent post-board rule change allows for permanent residents to be hired as peace officers in the state of Minnesota, and we believe that MPD is only the second department in the state to make such a hire, so we are certainly very proud of that. To give you a broader view of the demographic makeup of our academy class, you can see there that from the graduates and the lateral hires, we have what we believe is a very diverse class, academy class as well as laterals. Our graduates, our lateral hires were first, of course, applicants, and our applicant numbers at this point we believe are very positive. If you see the numbers there, in all of 2023, we had 697 applications. Thus far to date, we have 1,014, which is a 45% increase from 2023. So proud of that as we continue to get the word out that MPD is in need of hiring. When we break down the applicants by ethnicity, we also see an increase across the board. This slide shows the actual numbers. The next slide here shows the percentage increase, and this is sworn applicants. The Hispanic, Latino applications are up over 90%. Asian Pacific applicants as well, up over 90%. So we are moving in the right direction in terms of applicants. Some highlights around community engagement. On September 7th, the return of the Battle of the Badges, which is always a fantastic event. We had a good turnout this year. On September 17th, a community conversation hosted in conjunction with Unity Community. That took place. We also talked about the mentorship program that we have established with Unity Community. We also hosted 2 community MSTATs in the 3rd and 4th precincts in quarter 3. As for training, our Engaging with Minors training has been taking place in Q3. It still continues into Q4. That is department-wide training. Our Crisis Intervention CIT refresher training is also taking place as we speak. And then the use of force training, which is where the sworn leadership is today, that too is continuing. For the past couple of weekends, I know you're very aware that downtown, particularly Hennepin and Fifth Avenues, we've had some issues, some violence downtown, and we have put together, with the help of our law enforcement partners, a number of different community groups, what we're calling, for lack of a better term, a curfew task force, with the goal of deploying those folks downtown, deterring crime. And I think it's really important to note that the emphasis is around education and not enforcement. And I know in the first weekend there were 49 youth who were connected to resources downtown, and we were pleased the last couple of weekends with the results in terms of decreasing violence downtown. Q4 and beyond, Councilmember Rainville came to us several times over the last year about trying to put together a blue mass, and that will occur on October 30th at the Basilica. We are honoring not only Jamal Mitchell, but we're also honoring and remembering all of the law enforcement officers who killed in the line of duty, first responders killed in the line of duty in the last couple of years across the state of Minnesota. We don't know exactly how many people will be there at this point, but we are anticipating a very strong turnout from law enforcement across the state. The Blue Mass is October 30th at 11 a.m. Also, the use of force policy will be submitted to a LEFA for review by the end of October. That was rewritten with the help of community feedback. We're planning to restart the Latino Citizenship Academy, which had been in place for several years, and that the goal is to kick that back off in November. Internally, the department is doing internal performance reviews using body-worn camera video. We're looking for the proper usage of body-worn cameras. Per policy, are the cameras being turned on and off appropriately? And we're also, and I think you've heard Chief O'Hara speak about this many times, is that what sort of language are we using? Are we using professional language? And so we're reviewing all of those, and corrective action will be taken via training, chief's memo, or other means as necessary. The last piece I would say is that the implementation unit is doing roll call briefings and officer supervisor follow-up to discuss the change in policies and the settlement agreement as a whole. So that is my report. At this point, I'll turn it over to the Emergency Management Department.
Thank you so much. Hi. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Lori Burns, Interim Director for Emergency Management. So our mission and vision statement basically focuses on protecting people, and we do that by developing and refining and improving our capabilities in the areas of mitigation, prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. We know that we can't do the work that we do in emergency management without the partnerships that we have throughout the city, but also at the state, federal, county level, as well as the federal level in terms of our government partnerships, but also with our nonprofit and our private sector entities. So we value those relationships, and we continue to not only nurture the existing partnerships that we have, but also continue to look at adding new partnerships within our sphere of control. Here's just our organizational chart. We have 9.5 FTEs. Nothing has changed with this per se, but just wanted to again underscore that although that we're kind of a small department, I believe that we do very great work. particularly building upon all the partnerships that we have developed over the years. These are the 10 capabilities that we have, and these are essential for the execution of each of the mission areas that I just mentioned a moment ago. We do continuous improvement in looking at refining and shaping our capabilities so that we maintain a sustainability of all of the capabilities that are listed here. Just wanted to highlight one of the capabilities today, and that is the public education program. In years past, the Emergency Management Department really has been more focused on internal facing and just working with the city departments and the enterprise in terms of the services that we provide. And this year, we really have kind of stepped up, enhancing and strengthening our public education program capability so that we're more visible in the community. We're engaging with the community on a level that we haven't done in past years. And we're excited about looking at how we can engage the public in learning about the different hazards that might impact the city, but also what their role is in responding to disasters and other emergencies that they might face. The illustration that we have here, the photo, we partnered with the Health Department at the Open Streets West Broadway event, and we provided information to the public on emergency preparedness and response. So we have participated in a lot of different community events to, again, expound on our visibility with the community, but also to let the community know who we are. I think oftentimes when we've gone out to the community, they haven't really known who emergency management is and what we have to offer. And so we have been amplifying our messages through website and then also just personal face-to-face community engagement. For our highlights for quarter 3, we have a new emergency management director, Rachel Sayre, who's going to start with us October 21st. We're very pleased that the council voted for Rachel Sayre to be our new emergency management director. We are very excited and are looking forward to having her leadership within our department, but also to serve the county, or not the county, I'm sorry, the city as a whole. Our election planning, we have been working with the Elections and Voter Services team on preparedness and planning efforts in preparation for the general election that's going to happen on November 5th. And then we are on track with the NIMS maintenance work that we've been doing. That is a follow-up to the NIMS reset, all the trainings and exercises that we did that have culminated in the capstone project at Emmitsburg earlier this year. To date, we have hosted 2 courses, the All Hazards Incident Management Team and the Position-Specific Planning Section Chief. We also have conducted a damage assessment exercise, and this is just one of those examples of how we really partner with all of their city departments. The exercise was received positively. We had a lot of new participants within our damage assessment exercise, but that is our way of demonstrating that we are working vigorously to include all of our city departments the best that we can in the work that we do to support the city as a whole. And then lastly, on this slide, we have the incident support training team. We do ongoing training with this incident support team. That is to help them provide them with the training to increase their knowledge and their skill set so that they're prepared to respond to actual incidents. And we do that through interactive simulations and scenario-based training. Lastly, looking ahead in Q4, we have Ready Camp. Ready Camp is part of our public education program, and it is designed to engage the public in helping them understand what those key hazards are and what their role is in responding to preparing for any emergency before, during, and after an emergency, has occurred. Our next Ready Camp is October 22nd, 23rd. It's a 2-day class, and the registration is still open. It closes on October 15th, so we're excited to have that. We partner with a lot of different agencies, such as the National Weather Service, the Red Cross, Salvation Army, et cetera, to provide kind of a comprehensive overview and look of all of the partners that support the city of Minneapolis in our disaster management efforts. And then lastly, we have our training and exercises. And this is really a continuation of the planning and testing of our capabilities that are related to NIMS to ensure that we are prepared and ready to respond to any incidents. And we have the watch officer, which is more of an internal training for emergency management watch officers. We have a single command exercise with health and an enterprise exercise workshop. Both of those will happen in December. And that concludes my quarterly update.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Burns. We appreciate the
Thank
update.
you. Next is fire.
Yeah, Chief Tanner. Welcome.
Thank you. All right. I am Brian Tyner, Fire Chief of the Minneapolis Fire Department. And I always like to start with our mission statement. I know you guys have heard it a few times, but you never know who's watching, so just indulge me, please. Employees of the Minneapolis Fire Department are thoroughly trained and ready to protect lives, property, and the environment by rapidly responding to emergencies and hazardous conditions. We are committed to prevention by proactively working with the community to reduce risk to life, property, and the environment. And our motto is serving the community and enriching the city. Some of our quarter 3 and 4 highlights is we recently hired a fire cadet class of 24, it's actually down to 22, we've lost 2 already, that began training on September 16th. We have completed a process of creating a 2-year civil service list to guide our hiring for the next 2 years. We were able to complete that on just last week on October 4th. It doesn't sound like a lot, but from the planning to the completion of that is like a whole 1-year process. I mean, with all the testing and things that go on with that, it's a big process. And since I became fire chief, I've taken the position of wanting to give everybody an opportunity. So in the past, we would, cut it down and maybe only move maybe 200 people forward. But I moved the entire group forward and basically allowed people to eliminate themselves if that's what's going to happen. We are going to be conducting promotional testing for the fire investigator civil service list. We've recently had a retirement there, so we have an open position. We responded to 43,447 emergency incidents through September of 2024. This represents a 5.4% increase in call volume over the 41,113 incidents that we responded to through September of last year. And I think, as you will see later on, we can continue to see our incident load increase each and every year. Looking ahead, we are continuing work to implement Image Trend, which you guys so graciously gave us funding for this past year. It is a work in progress, but we expect to have that completed here in quarter 4. We're advancing work on the EOTF expansion, which is adding specialized rescue props to allow us to do specialized rescue training, which currently isn't even available in the state of Minnesota. We are advancing work on the stationer learning system upgrade project. It's moved its way through CLIC and is awaiting a funding decision, but we are working on having everything ready for when and if that comes through. We're exploring procurement and remodel of the current first precinct for Fire Station 10. It used to be Fire Station 10 before it became the first precinct. But now that we have an Engine 10 again, we're hoping to utilize that building once it becomes available again. And finally, we're exploring strategies to improve mental health and resilience services. We are experiencing a significant increase in mental health claims, and so we are trying to find ways to take care of our people in any way we can. And so with that, I will pass it on to the Neighborhood Safety Department. Thank you.
Chief Tyner. Welcome, Director Luana Nelson-Brown.
Okay, good afternoon. I have to reach. All right. Luana Nelson-Brown, Director of the Neighborhood Safety Department. Starting with a really quick overview. Our department, we use public health approaches to help reduce the impact of violence on our communities. We work best through the building of relationships and community, and we build and operate versions of evidence-informed strategies and best practices. We partner with local community-based organizations to develop and operate both innovative and community-driven violence prevention strategies. We're guided by evidence, driven by community, and rooted in collaboration. Over the last year, it has been fun, challenging, and interesting, but we have held an ongoing focus on two main questions that everyone wants to know, which is, how much does it cost to keep people safe? And of course, in answering that, that takes an entire ecosystem. So in our department, we are focused on the areas that we work, which is non-law enforcement response. And then, is what we're doing working? Does it work? So over the last year, we've held that as one of our core, two of our core values and questions that we're answering. And in order to answer these, we had to start doing major assessments. So we had to assess what we're spending on right now, the same way you would do with your own budget at home. If you're trying to incorporate costs and what costs look like, you look at what you're spending and what you're doing. And it's incumbent upon us as a city department to verify expenses down to the penny. This has been a need in our office turned department for several years. And since day one, it has been incumbent upon me to ensure that we are implementing protocols in collaboration with the procurement department, the city attorney's department, and finance to ensure compliance and accountability around spending and tracking. Those good compliance measures helps us know where our investment is going. We can then be transparent with taxpayers, and this is what cultivates public trust and allows us to work together on how we're utilizing our investments. Then we move into evaluating investing in what works and doubling down on those things, and then easing up on things that don't necessarily work for us in Minneapolis. All of this has to be documented and verified. Otherwise, we're just kind of operating on a whim and going in circles. And that has been our focus, is to streamline and ensure that we are working with documentation and good compliance measures. In order to do that, we have to have the appropriate manpower, and it takes a lot. Council has heard me say previously that across the country, there are departments similar to ours with upwards of 50 staff, and they have those staff and collaborate with boots on the ground, community-based organizations, in order to bring as much as possible and maximize the work within the ecosystem. This has been how we've been doing our assessment and a part of the building of infrastructure that you keep hearing about as we look to professionalize a movement. So, that's not, there's a slide missing, but that's okay. So this is what our current department looks like now. Previously, we had different positions, and we've streamlined particularly the leadership positions to what you see here. I wonder if, nope. Several of these have been hired. The Associate Director of Compliance and Administration has been hired. The Deputy Director who will oversee operations and the Associate Director of Finance are in the final hiring stages. The Associate Director of Programming is in interviews. So we restructured over these past couple of quarters so that we can make sure our own capacity in our own department, we're streamlining and maximizing resources so that we can have the right structure, the right people, the right amount of people, and do good monitoring and compliance. Quarter 1 and quarter 2, a brief overview. We've basically been building the plane as we fly it. The building part of the plane is building that capacity and infrastructure that I talked about. A few things that we did was make sure we staggered contracts because we have a large number in our department, and having them start and end at the same time was not feasible or sustainable, so we staggered the start and end dates of contracts. We also implemented protocols to verify funds are being spent as reported, and that we're also educating our vendors on how to track their spending themselves. Flying the plane, we've been asking the question and assessing, is what we're doing effective? Who do we have doing what, and what are the different models of services that we're working on? In our department, we've got a number of different services, but oftentimes people refer to those services as the same thing. The violence interrupters is a great example. We're calling multiple different services violence interrupter services, and they aren't necessarily all that. So we're starting to streamline who is doing what, and exactly what we should be calling them, and standardizing alongside of the industry across the nation. Some of our services work directly with law enforcement. Others can't and don't and shouldn't, because their work is built on relationships. So as we begin to assess, we're able to then communicate more effectively with our partners that are doing similar work. And you heard Director Harrington mention some of the work that we're doing now with our partners, Metro Transit, the county, and others, so that we can all have a unified system as we put this work together. Also, some of our models are evidence-based, some aren't. Those typically have national support, so we've re-engaged with our national partners, and we've re-engaged with our local partners that are providing support as well. Lastly, over these last few quarters, we assessed where some of the gaps were, and one of those was the voice of the victim in this work. So we developed and released the community trauma response RFP and awarded 12 vendors to do work directly with survivors of crime. Looking ahead and now into quarter 4, we're continuing the work that we started in quarter 1 and quarter 2, building those collaborations, working toward developing a community advisory board so that we make sure we keep the voice of the community at the center. We'll be releasing some RFPs for our core work. And over this last quarter, we developed a emergency response for downtown. You heard MPD talk about their curfew response. We also have an emergency response that has brought its own questions and challenges that we're working with now, like ensuring our vendors aren't being asked to do police work, because when things escalate above their level of training, we need to know how to move when that happens. So that is something that we're going to continue to do through the fourth quarter, and working with all of our vendors together in that response. We have also started working with both local and national partners in our GVI initiative, ensuring that we can move toward one of the key elements of that initiative, which is called a call-in. We're hopeful that we're in talks to see if that could potentially happen in quarter 4. We're also We finalized the contract with Cure Violence. I thank council for approving that contract. Cure Violence is one of our evidence-based services that works with violence interrupters. It's important that we adhere to that model because it's the industry standard, and we're moving toward full certification of that model with our violence interrupters. We've also been working towards scaling up behavioral crisis response, taking note of the vehicles and how vehicles are working or harming the work, how we can maximize the vehicles, and watch spending at the same time. And also determining how we can move behavioral crisis response into additional crime types. 911 has been incredibly helpful in their partnership with BCR response and scaling up in a way that makes sense. We also hired a specialist in our department to focus solely on behavioral crisis response and working with that vendor. Moving forward into quarter four, we're going to continue this work, assessing gaps and assessing what works and what doesn't, working with our hospital-based services, our school-based preventative services, collaborating with services offered by the county, and developing a community advisory board. I think I already stated some of our core services. Something to take note of, we'll have new RFPs released in quarter four. GVI and Minneapolis are two of the larger ones. And we'll also be executing some additional contracts that were previously in health to continue this work. And then we'll be continuing to enhance community trust by employing compliance that leads to the answer of the two original questions, which are how much and does it work? And I will invite up to the podium 911.
Thank you so much, and welcome up, Director Hodney. I think you are our last person today.
Thank you, Chair Chavez and council members. Yes, and I will try to make it as quick as I possibly can for you to get through this. All right, so 911 has some basic components that make up the success of the department. We're going to go throughout this overview, covering these categories of what helps to make the department successful. Currently, this is our organization chart. Not much has changed since the last time we presented this, other than the fact that our FTEs are filled in a much smaller gap across the board. Right now, we currently only have one vacancy in our admin department, and that just became available through a promotion that took place earlier this year. We have 2 supervisor vacancies, and we are down to the last 7 call taker or dispatcher openings that we have. This is putting us close to the highest staffing that we've had since 2021, and close to being fully staffed at 85 full-time employees. Our call volume trend, much like the fire chief said, seeing an increase in the calls, we're all, in their dispatches, we are also seeing an increase in the calls. During the first part of the first 2 quarters of 2024, we were actually seeing a lower call volume than what was trending, and now through this last quarter, the call volume has increased by about 15,000 calls over those 3-month time periods. New to my report this quarter is some information for you about the call abandoned overview. The term call abandoned makes it sound like the call is sent out there and forgotten. That's not the case with this, so I want to give a little explanation of how this works. But I'm going to start out saying that it's important to remember, if you accidentally dial 911, don't hang up. We'll answer the call as quickly as we can, and it saves time if you let us know that you don't need emergency services. There have also been intermittent issues over the last few months with various cell phone companies and their own phone system. So if someone calls in and gets a recording or a voicemail, they're not reaching Minneapolis 911. We don't have any type of a voicemail or a recording system set up on our phone for incoming calls. Our phones will ring for a maximum of 2 minutes. So what that means is when anybody's calling in, this gets into a little bit of the explanation of the abandoned calls. We have call takers that are online and they're in ready to receive the call. The calls come in and are rotated through those call takers in the longest waiting period, so the person that has been off of a call for the longest. If all of those call takers are on a phone, it goes to what's called this abandoned queue. So what it means is it's ringing into it, and the call takers can see up on the wall how many calls are ringing while they're on the current call that they're on. The breakdown of these numbers from the beginning of the year to now shows how often a call was ringing or for how long a call was ringing while a call taker was on another call. Either the person disconnected and we had to do a callback, or the call taker picked up the phone after this amount of time of ringing. I know this has been a lot of conversation in community meetings, so I wanted to make sure that this was included in the report so you all had a good understanding of how that works. The next piece of our department, of course, is workplace culture. We spend a lot of time together over various hours of the day and night. Our peer support team continues to engage staff in activities and support well-being. Working with our surrounding dispatch centers, we were able to create a way to have several other centers come in and help out in our dispatch during Jamal Mitchell's funeral, Officer Jamal Mitchell's funeral services. This opened the door to having developed a plan should the need arise in the future for assistance from other dispatch centers. Third and fourth quarter, our LMC group was reestablished earlier this year and it meets regular. LMC committees have developed out of the LMC and are working on building ideas and things to work with a thriving employee, help the employees thrive. And our goal is to launch these committees again by the end of the year. New to the center, now that that's complete, the new center is complete, we still have an old space down in our in the basement area right behind our kitchen. And we're turning that into an area where staff can go on their breaks, have a little bit of exercise area, stretching area, some time to be able to relax and maybe get some of their workouts in before or after work. Our training and quality assurance department is a key part of how we're successful in what we do and how we serve the public. Over the past 6 months, the training department has completed 5 call taker classes. Call taker classes are a month in length and then 2 additional months where a call taker is on the floor training. They've also done fire dispatch classes, police dispatch classes, and we have 1 more call taker class yet this year, along with additional fire and police dispatch classes. This helped to successfully close the gap on hiring, with the final interviews being done for the current floor staff, the supervisor, and admin in the next couple of weeks. One of our top dispatchers has been working alongside MPD, MFD, and EMS to train and keep the skills for the entire department strong for an active shooter situation or other large-scale events. This training has been ongoing throughout the year, and we look for it to continue into the end of 24 and into 25. Also into the future, fourth quarter, there's an all-staff training that's going to help to strengthen skills and prepare for large-scale events. And we're bringing in partners from Human Resources and BCR to help the staff understand the better communication with each of those departments. Quality assurance expansion. Currently, medical calls have been the primary focus. We're expanding our quality assurance program to include more police calls beginning in September and ensure that the first responders and 911 callers are getting the best possible service. Community outreach, working together with our partners at 311. We have been able to participate in several community events and ward presentations in conjunction with 311. What this has allowed us to do is to create some brochures and some information in multiple languages that help to build the messaging with 311 and 911 together to guide the community on how to get the appropriate service each one would need. And finally, a look ahead into the end of 2024 and into quarter one of 2025. Our most recent software upgrade that took place earlier this year needs another part of that upgrade in 2024, and then a large piece of the upgrade will happen in the first quarter of 2025, which could include some significant changes to how call takers see the screen that they're inputting on. So there'll be a great deal of training for that. What this is doing is allowing the preparation to make way for upcoming technology, next-gen 911 phases, and it will provide our stakeholders even better service and a quicker location system as we move forward. We were delayed in launching the automated abandoned callback system due to learning that we needed some hardware upgrades. These upgrades were done last week, and the system for the automated abandoned callback should be up and going in about a month. I'll have more information on that soon, I hope. We're bringing back ride-alongs and sit-alongs with other departments. This gives a visual to the call takers and dispatchers of what they're seeing on the streets, so they know how to paint that picture when they're hearing it over the phone with somebody and they need to explain it to the first responders that are out on the streets in the best possible way. Our quality assurance will expand even more in 2025, starting to do radio quality assurance. And finally, 2025 will still have a lot of training. Much of it will now be continuing education rather than new call taker and dispatcher training. And in early 2025, we'll also be engaging in a training for staff to have a better understanding of mental health calls and the best services are to provide to callers. And I think that's it. Is the commissioner coming back up, or?
Thank you, Director Hodney, and welcome up Commissioner Barnett. And then we'll open up a few questions. We gotta get out of here soon, but we will start off with Councilmember Rainville after you finish, Commissioner.
I just wanted to state that concludes our presentation, a quarterly update for quarter three, and we stand for questions.
Commissioner, Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Chair. So, Commissioner, I wonder if Mr. Skubman you had gave the racial makeup of the new recruits, but do you have that of the CSOs?
Welcome up. Thanks, Andy.
Chair Chavez, Councilmember Rainville, I do not, but I will get it to you. I can probably text somebody right now and have it for you.
Yeah, no rush. I'm just curious because my observation is you really have a diverse CSO.
We do, but I don't.
And the police department should take credit for that.
Thank you. Yep, I'll get you that information.
Okay, thank you.
Rachel, clerks, if you can help, please note that question for administrative follow-up regarding the diversity of the CSLs, I believe. Thank you.
Yep.
Second question is for emergency services. If you don't have to get up, if you just send me the link to the Ready Camp, and I'll put it in my newsletter. Okay. And then the next two are for Director Harrington. I think you might have to come up for this.
Welcome up, Director Harrington.
You better hustle because we got to leave.
I'm wearing heels.
The chair is going to cut you off.
No, I won't.
Just so I understand your language, you talked about the RFP for the safety ambassador sites. Is that just for that in conjunction with the South Side, or is that the whole city?
Chair Chavez, Councilmember Rainville, thank you for that question. The safety ambassadors will be piloted in 2 cultural districts initially, the East Lake Street Cultural District and East Franklin Avenue. We did that because we can set up the infrastructure for dispatch and communication in the South Minneapolis Community Safety Center for our pilot program. That doesn't mean we're going to stop there, but those are the 2 sites that we're going to start with in this next year.
Okay, thank you. And second question is, you talk about one of your, I don't know if it's coming up here or you're in the process, but convening the safety service providers? So that's Mad Dads, Mothers, 21 Days of Peace, so forth? That's
Sure.
what you mean when you say safety service providers?
Chair Chavez, Councilmember Rainville, thank you for the question. We actually reached out to health, neighborhood safety, police, a number of different organizations, animal control, so city services as well, to really try and replicate the full safety ecosystem. So safety service providers was a very broad term, and we had a lot of different service providers in the room together.
Okay, so that happened already.
It happened in August, and we plan on having additional meetings quarterly.
And that was our staff mostly, city staff?
It was actually
Not vendors?
It was actually mostly vendors, so people that we contracted with, although we had city staff there as well because we were trying to have relationships.
Well, it was a great idea, and I'm glad to see that you did that. So thank you. You're in a tough job, and you're very graceful and professional in doing it. So thank you.
Good. Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, I have half a dozen questions for all these departments, so I think I'll take them almost all offline. I just want to take a moment to just acknowledge that, you know, one of the benefits of having all of these responder organizations under one purview, that of our commissioner, is the ability to better coordinate them together. And some of that might be these kinds of presentations, but I'm especially interested in, and we'll be starting to ask more questions about how these departments interact and can work together in a more functional way. And I know that that's a product of some of the work to come. But thank you for this presentation today, and I'll follow up with my questions separately.
Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. I have one question for 911, and it'll be pretty quick. Just hoping to figure out what is the best way for the 911 department to get feedback from community members. I assume a lot of us on the council get specific feedback from residents, and it would be good to figure out like the best way that council communicates with 911 and figuring out how we move that feedback and say this was an instance where one of my residents had maybe a complaint or an issue that they want addressed. What is the best way to get that addressed? I also want to thank you and your staff for coming to the community meeting that we held last week. There was a lot of feedback given in that meeting, and I guess my question is relating to that a little bit, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. So there is a couple of ways to do this. Many of you reach out to me directly with questions from your constituents, and then I have the staff do the research and follow up with you. There's also a supervisor email address that's 911.supervisors@minneapolismin.gov. That is going to go to a supervisor that's on duty 24 hours a day. If they're not able to research the issue, they'll send it on to one of the operations managers or managers. And one of the final pieces is, I just yesterday was having a conversation, part of it is in thoughts and follow-up from the meeting that you had last week, and that is I need to provide a link on our website for community members to be able to reach out and get an answer if they've had something that's an issue. It's so important for us to get certain pieces of information in order to do that follow-up, and it would be easier to have direct contact.
I agree, and I like that answer. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My next questions are for NSD, but I don't need an answer right now because we're running out of time, so I'll just ask it for administrative follow-up. But on the quarter 3, quarter 4 strategic priorities, really love seeing the part about scaling up BCR, the assessment with school-based preventative services, and the collaboration with county services. So we'd just love you don't have to answer that right now, so that's okay, Director. But it would be appreciated to just get administrative follow-up of what that means. I think that is really positive developments, I would say, something that I really look forward to learning more about and really appreciate it. So thank you. So my question would just love more details about what is the scaling up of BCR going to look like, what are the assessment of school-based preventative services, and the collaboration with county services. They're good things, so thank you. All right. No one else is on queue. So seeing no further questions on item 8 and item number 9, I will direct the clerk to receive and file those reports. And seeing no further business before us, I will declare this meeting adjourned.